Have you ever wondered why, regardless of the effort you make, things seem to be further away? Or why you feel like nothing goes right? Well, there is a strange and cruel irony printed on human existence, a truth that most discover only when their hands are too tired to keep fighting. And yes, indeed, you are working for that dream. Yes, you are fighting. It is not that you aren't doing it. However, there is a hard truth. All that you feel you are doing is actually the problem. The anxiety with which you live to achieve those goals. Your brain is sabotaging you, and you don't even know it. Observe the behavior of water. If you try to catch it with a violent and desperate fist, it will escape through your fingers with insulting speed. But if you open your palm, if you allow the liquid to rest on your skin without trying to possess it, the water stays with you. This is the paradox, a universal law that dictates that the more you chase something with the anxiety of someone who is drowning, the faster it seems to flee from you. But there is a way to dismantle this mechanism, a technique the ancients called action without action. The more you chase money with a scarcity mindset, the more you act as a financial repellent. The more you beg for love or validation, the more pathetic and less magnetic you become in the eyes of others. Even when you are alone in your room and cannot sleep, the more you try to force your brain to sleep, the harder it is because you think about so many other things. Your own desperation is what creates the resistance. You are trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Alan Watts, the thinker who managed to decode the silence of Zen for Western ears, called this phenomenon the backwards law. His premise is a hammer blow directly to the modern ego. The desire for a more positive experience is, in itself, a negative experience, while the acceptance of a negative experience is, paradoxically, a positive experience. We live in a culture that sells you the pursuit of happiness as a mandate, but that pursuit is your greatest condemnation. When you frantically repeat to yourself that you have to be successful, you are only achieving one thing, cementing in your subconscious the belief that you are not. You are feeding the ghost of your own inadequacy. Watts used the analogy of the muddy pond to illustrate this cognitive error. If you want to clean turbid water, what do? Do you put your hands in and try to push the mud to the bottom with force? Any child knows that only clouds the water more. What you do is leave it alone. You step away. You sit on the bank and observe. And the mud, by its own weight, settles, finally revealing crystal clear water that was always there, beneath the chaos. Your mind is the same. Imagine that your brain is that pond. Your obsession with fixing your life is precisely what keeps it that way. Clarity is not something that is manufactured. It is something that appears when you stop generating turbulence. But relaxation is a luxury that fear rarely allows. This is where Seneca's Stoicism offers us a darker and more realistic lens. The Cordovan master understood that the root of your rigidity is not the present situation, but the uncertainty of the future. We live in a state of constant muscular and mental tension because we are trying to avoid a pain that has not yet been born. We are prisoners of a catastrophic simulation in our heads. Listen well to this sentence because it should be the epitaph of your anxiety. The man who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary. Your current tension is not solving tomorrow's problems. It is simply stealing the strength you need for today. Your anxiety is an unfair tax, a very high interest rate that you are paying on a debt that may never be collected. How many times have you had what you believe is a serious problem? You turn it over day and night. It doesn't even let you sleep peacefully. And over time, you realize that everything has been resolved, and that all the anxiety and damage you did to your body for no reason was not worth it. Always remember that true mastery consists in understanding that most of your battles are against shadows that you yourself project onto the wall of your future. Let's talk about repulsion. Need has a smell that the world detects from miles away. In the business world, if a client smells that you only wish to close the deal, that the only thing you are interested in is selling them something, you have lost the battle. You have lost all your bargaining power. You will become their prey. And that also happens in relationships. If the other person feels that your emotional stability depends on a message from them or their company, you will have only succeeded in making them feel more powerful. And in the end, you will make them lose interest in you and run away. Diogenes the Cynic took this idea to the crudest extreme. It is said that he lived in a jar, without possessions, to demonstrate that the man who needs nothing is the only one who can be truly free and authoritative. When Alexander the Great approached him and offered him any wish, Diogenes simply said, "Get out of my light, you are blocking the sun." That is a self-sufficiency that becomes a magnet. Need is a chain. Strategic indifference is a throne. The universe does not give you what you ask for with the trembling hands of a beggar. It returns the reflection of the solidity you project. When you stop needing the world to validate you, the world starts seeking your validation. To understand how to act without tension, we must turn to Epictetus's analogy of the archer. Imagine you have a bow in your hands. You control every detail prior to the shot. The quality of the wood, the tension of the string, the straightness of the arrow, the control of your breathing, and the focus of your gaze on the target. But there is a critical moment, a point of no return. The second your fingers release the string, in that instant, the arrow stops being yours. It becomes the property of the wind, gravity, and destiny. An unexpected gust can deflect it. The target can move. If your peace of mind is tied to the arrow sticking in the center of the target, you have surrendered your happiness to forces that, unfortunately, you cannot control. You are a slave to luck. But if your satisfaction lies in having made a perfect shot, in having executed your technique with excellence and serenity, then you are invincible. The result is secondary. Mastery of the process is the only real thing. How do we apply this philosophy of effortless effort in a world that demands hypervigilance from you? The protocol is divided into 3 phases of cold execution. 1. Careless. You must develop a selective indifference. Take importance away from external events. If that message doesn't arrive, if that project fails, if that person leaves, so be it. Reduce the size of problems in your mind until they look ridiculous. By subtracting importance from the result, you regain control over your process. 2. Do more. Please do not confuse the word "let go" with passivity. The true law of backwards effort requires massive action, but without emotional friction. You must work with the precision of a surgeon, hands busy, mind cold. Move through the world as if you have already won, or as if you had nothing to lose. Action without anxiety is the purest form of power. 3. Let go. Practice the love of fate, amor fati. Love your destiny, whatever it may be. If things go well, it is fuel. If they go wrong, it is also fuel because it has become a lesson and armor. When you reach this point of strategic indifference, the world loses its claws and its power over you. They can no longer scare you with the fear of failure, because for you, failure is just another form of learning. when you stop forcing the doors of life, you discover that many of them were not locked, but opened inwards. By taking a step back, you allow reality to reorganize in your favor. Do not chase, attract. Chasing implies that what you seek is outside of you, and that you are incomplete without it. Do not force, flow. Force generates an opposing force of equal magnitude. Remember that fullness is the natural state of those who have stopped fighting against shadows. By relaxing, you are not giving up on your goals. You are giving up on the unnecessary tension that prevented you from achieving them. You are taking real control over the only territory that truly belongs to you, your own mind. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. The algorithm brought you here for a reason. You are not a coincidence. Subscribe now if you are ready to stop fighting and start winning. Until next time.